Hi everybody, Ben Braveoak here, and I love to talk about finance, stocks, money, all of this sort of stuff. But today I'm going to be talking about Blackberry, and Blackberry's hit the headlines recently because it's absolutely rocketing. In the last 20 days, it's up well over 100%. In the last year, it's up well over 400%. And it's not looking like it's stopping. Today, it's up over 30% on its own. And there's been a lot of major catalysts for this in 2020. The deal with Amazon was announced in which they were going to develop Project Ivy. They solved their patent infringement cases with Facebook, and they started selling off their patents to Huawei. So Blackberry, that company we used to know for the little black phones with the keyboards, it's now becoming a software company. And this has been echoed by all of those events that I just mentioned. Not only this, but its software and services revenue is increasing quarter on quarter, year on year. And this means that Blackberry could potentially have a lot of room to grow going forward. In this video, we're going to be looking at all of these factors to put together a story for Blackberry, where it is now, and where it could potentially go. Okay, you know how we've got to start. The best way to start is always to look at that chart. So let me load up the all-time chart onto the screen, and I'll put it onto your screen as well, and let's just take a run through what's happened. So you can see its all-time high was in 2008, and then it crashed. Guess what happened? The iPhone was released in late 2007, and it became quickly apparent that these new smartphones outcompeted the Blackberry. Blackberry couldn't compete with them. Its revenue fell, its profit fell, it started selling less phones, and that caused a crash, and that crash has continued all the way up to 2020. And when I was first making these videos, I planned to make it last week, you couldn't see this spike here, but now you can. There is a spike in January 2021, and that's largely because today it's gone up another 27%. If we move into the 1 year chart, you can see that spike. And this is because it's really becoming apparent to people that Blackberry is a software company with higher profit margins and a lot of room for growth. So let's delve into that a bit more and see if this spike is going to continue going. Blackberry is no longer making phones. In fact, a company called Onward Mobility will be making Blackberry's phones going forward. And they're not even going to be using Blackberry software. It's supposedly going to be based on Android. And as such, I think we can sort of disregard Blackberry's hardware business going forward. It's not going to be the profit driver. So this video is really going to focus on the software side. Let's take a look at Blackberry's main software offering today. So I'll just stick it on the screen. It's called Blackberry QNX. Now, Blackberry QNX is a supplier of commercial operating systems, hypervisors, development tools, and it provides the cybersecurity. Now, in terms of how it's done in its software and services revenue over the last few years, it has risen a lot. So going into Q3 and Q4 2020, it rose about 20% year on year from 2019. However, interestingly and slightly bearish, software revenue was expected to fall in Q1 and Q2 2021 by about 10% from Q1 and Q2 2020. Now, when the CEOs was asked for comment on this, they said it was due to pandemic-related shutdowns, meaning that for people who pay for their software don't need it as much. For example, automobile makers aren't making as many cars, so they're paying for less software. Now, if this is true, it doesn't really impact the bull case as long as the software and services revenue pick up in late 2021, which is what the CEO expects to happen. Going into 2022, if we are not seeing a clear growth in software and services revenue, then Blackberry's share price will almost certainly plummet. So that's just a bit of risk analysis you need to bear in mind when you are looking at this stock. Let's discuss one of the big positives for Blackberry going forward. In late 2020, Blackberry and Amazon announced this deal that they're going to be working together to develop the Ivy software. From Blackberry's point of view, this is a multi-year revenue deal in which they're going to be developing the Ivy software, which is cloud-connected software that will help car manufacturers interpret sensor data to improve the driving experience for both driver, passenger. It will be integrated with Amazon Web Services and its wider Internet of Things offerings, along with Blackberry QNX. The reason this is so huge is two-part. First of all, it provides a multi-year revenue deal, and it brings them into a pie that is self-driving and smart cars. And this is going to be absolutely huge going forward. It is absolutely inevitable that in the next 20 years, we are going to see a surge in intelligent cars with more sensors, more software, more data that needs protecting. All of these things are going to fall nicely into Blackberry's pie. And if Blackberry can seize even a small portion of the revenue of this sector, it will become the mainstay of Blackberry's business. and it could provide a BlackBerry valuation in the multiples of what it is today. The second reason this is so significant is because being partnered with a huge company like Amazon can only do good things for your reputation. And not only is it Amazon, but it's in a pioneering, forward-looking area that has got a lot of press attention. This positive marketing will drive customers to BlackBerry's other software offerings such as QNX, and this will mean more revenue, more profit for BlackBerry, which will help support further research and development and help them further grow their software offering. There is a second argument for BlackBerry's undervalued, and this is based on BlackBerry being valued as a hardware company when it should be valued as a cybersecurity company. Compared to its hardware peers, BlackBerry isn't really undervalued. But if you compare it to the cybersecurity space, you can see its price to sales is about 6 compared to an industry average of about 11, and you can see its price to book is about 3.5 compared to an industry average of about 11. But this only applies if you consider BlackBerry to be a cybersecurity company, and it might be too early to say that. However, the other thing to note is that BlackBerry may have greater cybersecurity growth than many of its peers. So if you consider only a portion of it to be a cybersecurity company, and you factored in the extra growth that it may have due to stuff like that Amazon deal we discussed earlier, maybe it's even more undervalued than that would make it appear. I think deciding on this valuation is really down to your personal opinion. Is BlackBerry a hardware company? Is it a software company? Or is it somewhere in between? One of the most important things to look at when investing is who the leadership are. Are they competent and are they taking the company in the right direction? Now, the CEO of BlackBerry is John Chen. John Chen was appointed in 2013, at which point BlackBerry was on the brink of bankruptcy, and he is credited with turning around BlackBerry and changing its strategic direction into the software company that it is today. Based on 2020 and 2021's performance, you can assume he's done a fantastic job. But not only did he do a good job with BlackBerry, he did a fantastic job with his previous company, Sybase. When he joined Sybase, the market capitalization was about $362 million, and when he left, it was about $5.8 billion. Not only this, but he led 55 quarters of continuous profitability when he was there. This is the sort of CEO you want leading a company that is going through a complete strategic reorganization and changing into a new profitable area. In my opinion, Chen is a fantastic CEO. So is BlackBerry a good investment? When I was first making this video, BlackBerry was valued at $10 to $12, and I was going to argue that BlackBerry could easily hit $20, but was unlikely to hit $5. And for this reason, BlackBerry was a good risk-reward comparison, and probably favorable if you invested now. However, now BlackBerry's $18. In the last week, investors and individuals have piled their money in, and even today, BlackBerry's up 30%. At $18, that risk-reward comparison is a lot more difficult, especially in the short term. BlackBerry has big boots to fill, and it could provide a fantastic multiplier on your money, but only if it succeeds in its software visions. It's got a good CEO, and it's got a good path to success. But as always, ultimately it comes down to the implementation. I personally hold a small amount in BlackBerry at the moment as a long-term investment, but really I consider it to be high risk. And as always, investment decisions come down to you. What is your risk tolerance? Whatever you do, I wish you good luck. That sums up my views on BlackBerry. Thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed it, please like or comment. And if you want to see more, please subscribe because lots more finance videos are going to be coming in the future.